How about the hometown kid coming through big for his Philadelphia 76ers? Justin Edwards, take a bow. It's your night. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We are coming to you live from the Xfinity studio. Rich, Devon, Bree, she's the president of basketball operations. We'll check in with Kyle Neubeck from the arena once he's done with all the press conferences. Glad to be with all of you hanging out with us. We got to ask right at the top, hit the like button for Justin Edwards. Hit the like button to start the show off because he was fantastic. Almost a perfect night, and it felt like that kind of night where he was going to remain perfect, that the script was laid out. Tyrese Maxey goes to the basket, pivots, finds Edwards wide open at the top of the key. It's his night. That shot's going to fall, but a good shot. And because it was a good shot, it gave an opportunity for Kelly Oubre to crash the glass the way that he did to get the putback, which was ultimately the game winner. What a night for Justin Edwards. Rich, what's the main thing for tonight?
So it's twofold, man. And the first part of it is that I did not think the Sixers could win a game like that. That was a defensive slugfest. I thought they were awesome defensively pretty much the entire game. I thought they were terrible offensively for long stretches of the game that allowed them to give up easy baskets on the other end. I would say, I'm looking at it right now, 3 of their 5 starters were pretty horrendous in tonight's game. Maxey was subpar as well too. Like, he was not as good as he usually is as well. No, he was bad. I'm looking at it as now. That was a bad Maxey game in tonight's game. But the reason they were able to win was because they played great defense the entire game. Great defense all the way down to that final possession. And as Bree just put up on the graphic, they won because Justin Edwards was on a generational heater tonight. Devon, that gif of the guy, the guy with the flames, he's the
yes,
fireman. That was Justin Edwards in the Wells Fargo Center tonight, man. He was spectacular. I mean, like, he's just, obviously he's a catch and shoot type of player, or like a couple dribbles, like move the ball type of guy. The ball, he was getting rid of it so quick, and it was all net the entire game, man. It was so impressive to watch. Now, I think everybody will look back to that 9-0 run that was all Justin Edwards in that third quarter. I'm going to tell you, he was awesome in the first half as well. Like we were remarking, he had, I think, 2 or 3 awesome offensive rebounds. Just like out of nowhere, this dude is jumping over 4 Celtics for the basketball, kicking it back out, creating extra buckets for the Sixers. He played great in that first half. And then he catches fire in another dreadful third quarter. We'll get to that in a second, everybody. He starts to catch fire, and I'm thinking, okay, he needs to close this game because they don't have 5 guys that are playing a legit 2-man game. And credit to Nick Nurse, he does close the game. He goes on that 9-0 run. And like you said, he gets the shot. It would have been poetic for him to go, what was it, 9
for 9 and 3 for 3.
Would have been poetic for him to make that
6 for 6. Sorry,
to make that last one to go 9 for 9 and 6 for 6. Instead, he goes 8 for 9 and 5 for 6. But things are going so well for Justin Edwards. Even when he bricks that shot, Kelly Oubre is Johnny on the spot. It bounces right to him, and that is your winning basket. I'm sure Kyle and Derrick are going to have the video and the reaction from the locker room and everything. But man, the hometown kid who has had a little bit of an up and down start to the season, like at some point, a bench guy being able to swing even 1 game in the regular season is a huge deal, and Justin Edwards did that for the Sixers tonight.
That's the beauty of sports, right? Beauty of sports.
Beauty of sports.
Beauty of sports, beauty of basketball in this case, because so many things happen within a 48-minute game and a slugfest, as Rich talked about. The Sixers were up by 10 at the half, 51-41. The Celtics were shooting at the half 28% through the first 24 minutes of this game, and behind the three-point line, 19%. We'll get to the third quarter, but it was one of those deals of how long can this last where they can, number one, you should be up by more than 10 points when the team is shooting 28 and 19% from those respective spots out there on the floor. However, the Sixers weren't shooting all that great. They were shooting 47 and 39. So you got league average right there from behind the 3-point line. I wish they were up a little bit more, but it's a division game. It's a team that, again, 2 points separated them in the first two matchups where they split the 2-game series so far. So you knew it was going to be a tough night. And as we said in the pregame, this was going to be one that the Sixers could win. You just need others to do things. Trendon Watford is in foul trouble. Kelly Oubre is in foul trouble. Justin Edwards is forced into the lineup of having to play. And when he got his number called, he was ready. And I remember his very first possession, I looked at him and he made a bad defensive play. And I'm like, it's going to be one of those nights where Nick Nurse is going to have to gamble maybe and see if he can live with Kelly Oubre without picking up a fourth foul and not getting himself in trouble. But Justin Edwards rebounded, pun intended, very well by also hitting the glass, being a really good defensive player where he was cutting off drives. He was beating guys to their spot. He wasn't going for ball fakes that we have seen him do through the first 10 games where it has got him in trouble and maybe even zapped his confidence on the other end where we know he can make those shots. But tonight, it was his night. And that's, again, the beauty of sports where Maxey is having a tough night overall. VJ Edgecombe is picking his spots. Andre Drummond having another good night, but you needed someone else to step up tonight. And where we asked, all right, Jarrett McCain, is he going to make a shot tonight? What is it going to be? An open three? Is it going to be something in close, get a basket? You needed another guy to step up in this spot. And tonight it was Justin Edwards. And Justin Edwards put himself back into the rotation with the performance that he had tonight. With that performance, 8 for 9, 5 for 6 from behind the 3-point line. Really good defense. He wasn't a negative out there on the floor. If anything, he was a big, big plus where he had to remain out there on the floor all night long. And he finished the night with 26 minutes and 39 seconds. He was the player of the game, clearly for us. Clearly, with the performance that he had tonight, the assists, finding his open teammates, dribbling, taking stuff in the mid-range as well. That one shot that he made, the two shots that he made inside the 3-point line, three. One of them, I remember he had to dip in and take a pull-up jump shot, and it was water. Yeah. It was just clean.
That was a huge shot.
Didn't touch anything, right?
They had possession, and he bailed him out.
He bailed him out on that one. So he did everything right. And again, when you have sports and you have a team sport like this one, and we know in baseball and in football and in hockey, all these things come into play. But tonight, the Sixers needed a guy. And the guy tonight was Justin Edwards with the type of performance that he had out there this evening. So it was great to see him do that. Great for him individually simply because of what he couldn't do through the first 10 games. He's had some moments where he hit some shots and he had some good defensive
good against Orlando. I remember we did that game, but in a much smaller role.
But again, he still hasn't cracked it enough to be a part of the rotation leaping over anybody. And I'm not saying he's going to leap over anybody, but he's certainly going to get his number called after what he did tonight.
He has not been in the rotation, even though he's the second wing in the pecking order. Nick Nurse has gone with sort of bigger lineups with Jabari Walker at the 4 and Andre Drummond and Bona obviously as well, but he's played 3 guards basically the entire time. And Justin Edwards, despite being the only other real wing besides Kelly Oubre, Nick Nurse has rolled with that. And I'm not even saying that was wrong because Justin Edwards hasn't showed a lot. Man, you know what I'm thinking of? You talked about the beauty of sports and just you never know what you're going to see. And the level of surprise and excitement when a guy just does something unexpected. That 9-0 run, Sixers are down 92-84 with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Things are looking like they're going to get away from them, right? Their offense completely stuck in the mud. Celtics started to make some very difficult shots on the other end. Thought they were still defending pretty well on that end. And then Justin Edwards, in a matter of basically like a minute, 20 seconds, bangs 3 threes. First one comes from Tyrese Maxey. Second one happens after VJ Edgecombe, an amazing weak side block against Jaylen Brown. I didn't really even notice what a nice block that was until you pointed it out. You were like, did you see the replay where he came from meeting Jaylen Brown, a very powerful dunker? at the rim, gets the block, and then VJ pushes the ball up the court himself, and then finds Edwards in the corner, and Breeze got it up right here. Yeah, watch Edgecombe come from the weak side, meets Jaylen Brown at the summit, gets the ball back, has the presence of mind to pass to Edwards, and the nice thing about Edwards, man, that release is so fast. And I think that's something we complimented him on last year, that, hey, look, when that shot is going in terms of being a catch-and-shoot player, that's not really something he was at Kentucky. He was one of the best high school players in his class. He was thought to be more of a, like a guy with the ball in his hands. He has worked to become more of that 3-and-D type of player, and he gets rid of that thing quickly. So that was 6-0 in the 9-0 run. And then the third one, they get a stop, and Tyrese Maxey, I think Drummond rebounds the ball. Tyrese Maxey runs a pick and roll in transition with Drummond. Probably Maxey's best pass in the night, throws an over-the-shoulder pass to Edwards. Like, he knew this guy is on fire. We have all the momentum. Let's see if I can find the hot hand in semi-transition and get him an open look. Maxey puts it right on the money. And again, Justin Edwards, like Jordan Walsh was guarding him on that play. He was not like wide open by any means, but the release was so fast and he was barely hitting the net tonight that was good. Man, that 9-0 run, timeout, place going wild, that's really fun. Like, that's like special stuff. That's what makes regular season games.
And it put them up by 1, right?
Yeah, put them up by 1.
So that was a huge shot right
Breeze
there.
got it right here. Great pass by Maxey.
Great pass. And was that the heat check one, or was it the one that VJ Edgecombe threw it to him when I yelled out to you guys?
They were both heat checks.
I'm like, heat check. Yeah, but they were both heat checks. But you know what? It was the third one because he had already hit the 2, and it's like, all right, if he makes this one, come on, So that was huge. That was huge by them to be able to get that. Have the wherewithal and find the hot hand out, as you mentioned, out there on the floor as the guy sprinted. And that's the other thing. He sprinted to the 3-point line. He wasn't going to the basket. He wasn't doing any of that. He sprinted to a spot on the 3-point line as he flared out to, make sure that the spacing was good and all for Maxey or Edgecombe as they're running and pushing the break. He found his spot. He found one of those on those wings, and they all seemed to be on the left side of the floor too, Rich. He was over there in front of the bench instead of being on the other side and on the sideline in front of the fans. So great shooting, man. Great balance on the shot tonight. Once they started to fall for him, he clearly understood that, when you play ball, this feels good. Everything coming off my fingertips feels good.
Everybody's had those days
You've all
in
had
some
your
way
moments.
or another.
Yes.
Not on an NBA court, maybe not 8 of 8 from 3, but you've had a day where you showed up to pick up or a high school game or a rec league game, whatever it is, and you're just feeling it. Everything is going in, and Justin Edwards had that in his hometown on the biggest stage tonight. So that was awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
So
and Free Palestine said it right there in the chat. Free says that the one thing that when you mentioned Edwards from high school, the elevation to college, it didn't work out there. But as we talked about a lot with plenty of NBA guys when they got to the NBA, find your role. Know what your role is to stay in this league. And that's the one thing that a lot of people don't realize, or their ego, their personality can't accept it. He clearly is one that has accepted it and found his role for what he is. Now, he still has to continue this and do this consistently throughout the season, not to the tune of 8 for 8 at one point in the game, but just being able to impact and still not lose your confidence, help out on the defensive end, and come back. Because he had some really good tip-aways as well defensively where he was up in guys.
The play where he ripped Simons and dunked on him, that was an awesome play. That was another play in the second half where the game felt like it was getting away from the Sixers.
And Simons was hot.
Yes,
right.
yes. So I think your point is exactly right, where Justin Edwards was on fire from the 3-point line tonight, but he did little things really well in tonight's game. I talked about the rebounding. You just talked about all the deflections and some of the play.
Get in the chest of the defender.
I sound like Nick Sirianni right now. Some of the plays that he made, getting into ball handlers and forcing them away from screens, like he was awesome on both ends tonight. And easily the player of the game. Just phenomenal game. Completely. That's so cool, man. He swung a game against the Boston Celtics where the rest of his team was not good enough offensively to win that game, and he dragged them over the finish line for the win.
All right, so Justin Edwards, player of the game. He was fantastic tonight. He wins the game for the Sixers, a 2-point win, 102-100. The Sixers are 7-4. They take 2 of 3 from the Celtics in the first less than 3 weeks, Rich. We've seen the Celtics less than 3 weeks 3 times. The next matchup is not until March. We'll see how important that game is. I'd imagine that it will be for the Sixers once we get to March. But before we go to break, we got to give you the breaking news because it's perfect timing when you can drop the breaking news after a huge win at home and everybody's feeling good. Shams Charania with the update on Paul George in the final stage of his debut process and will be reevaluated later this week. He is moving closer to a return, but doctors wanted additional strength of his left quads to support the knee before clearance. And look, later in the week, that means Friday too. So it could be Friday. If it's not Friday, the Sixers play next Monday. And Rich, I asked him about the over-under of 5 games. Rich said, no, the over-under is Friday.
Under.
Against the Detroit Pistons. So that's the update from Shams Charania of ESPN. Once again, Paul George is in the final stage, as we know, of his debut process and will be reevaluated later this week. The Sixers are off Wednesday, Thursday. They travel Thursday to Detroit to play the Pistons. He is moving closer to a return, but the doctors want additional strength of his left quadriceps to support the knee before they give him clearance to take the floor in an NBA game. We'll come back. We'll continue to talk more about that, get Rich's thoughts. We got to get to the, temperature check. Future is bright, all that good stuff. And we got to do all of that right here on this night. Post-game show, Sixers win by 2. Justin Edwards, you got a podium game, my friend. Have at it. Enjoy that night. We'll talk about it all when we get back on the PHLY Sixers post-game show. And yes, I bet none of us had a perfect 8 for 8 or 7+ for threes for Justin Edwards from Bet365. But if you did, hats off to you, my friend, because you are the best, and you need to tell us what we need to do to make sure that we win. But with that being said, Bet365 has over 90 million users worldwide, live streams of 780,000 live events each year with early payouts across the NBA, the NHL, MLB, NFL. They got you covered all the way through. And with those early payouts, maybe you got that done tonight. Your team went up by 20 in another game, not your hometown team, but in another NBA game. You got that early payout. Maybe you took advantage of the 30% profit boost by putting something together and doing so on a Tuesday, or your protected bet on Tuesdays on Tuesday nights where you have no worries up to a $10 bet. If your bet loses, you get that bet back. Well, if you didn't, and you want to be a member of Bet365, you want to be a part of it. Breaking news, not on Paul George, on Bet365. New customers get $300 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. All you have to do is sign up, use code PHLY365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and you get $300 in bonus bets, which could be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And guys, the other day I was over at Derek Bodner's house and he was pumped to watch some hoops, but his setup, it was a total mess. Lagging, buffering, and switching between apps trying to find a game. He claimed he was a big fan, but I felt like I was fan-fished. See, if you call yourself a basketball fan, you gotta have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination, and I can find the best games of my favorite teams all in one place, and the way that I watch is next level. It's the perfect fan flex. I've got all the action right there in my living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K, so clear that it feels like I'm in the arena. And sometimes I've got 4 games going at once, because why not? On top of that, I get real-time notifications and live stats right there on my TV. It's the best seat in the house every time. So next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers post-game show, where the Sixers improved to 7-4 in another thriller over the Boston Celtics, 102-100. Before we get to the temperature check and more breaking news from Shams.
Saw that.
And that is this time on Joel Embiid. He says the 76ers center, Joel Embiid, was reevaluated tonight on his right knee and has no structural issues and is day-to-day. That's the update for Joel Embiid.
It's better than the other one.
It is. It is. Now, what does that mean for Friday against Detroit? I don't know. But I'm very curious to see if they decide, you know what? All right, he had Monday off, Tuesday off, give him the entire week off, and don't put him out there on the floor until the following week when they're back on the floor on that Monday. So I'd be curious to see how they play this one out.
Hopefully Kyle gets on within the hour and we can get to the bottom of what Nick Nurse said. Honestly, Devon, the bigger issue for me, I mean, the Paul George thing is very frustrating. It's more Shams saying the final stage, and I love Shams. He was like a great colleague. I worked with him. Of his quote unquote debut process. What does debut process mean, man? What does
Well,
that
first
mean?
of all, we know it's the final stage. We know that. But
what kind of gobbledygook is that, man?
The final stage of him returning to the floor.
Okay, that's all. That's all. Let's talk about the guys on the floor, and hopefully we can ask Kyle about that.
All right, let's get to the heating up, cooling off with the Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Visit, again, Ace Hardware Home Services to get everything started. So I ask you, because this is where I was looking, obviously Justin Edwards, and we just talked about him in the first block, but also for a second consecutive game, as frustrating as he was at times, especially down the stretch where they needed some rebounds and good positioning here and all, Andre Drummond still had a double-double of 14-13. Rich, that's like 3 consecutive games where he's played really well. Andre Drummond is heating up.
Yeah.
And he is
plus 10 tonight.
Plus 10 tonight, 14 points, 13 boards, 6-for-11 from the floor. He did have 1 block shot, no turnovers. The 3-pointers were frustrating in the moment because of time, no time, and situation. But he is heating up.
They all come at the worst times now, right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. These games are too close to be taking those threes.
Right. You give up 6 straight points in the third quarter. It's like, what is it time for? An Andre Drummond corner 3. I mean, that feels like
Quentin Grimes, don't pass it to him. He's open for a reason.
That feels like even more than 1 miss on the possession. Like you can hear the crowd go, oh no, and then he misses the shot. I mean, again, he shoots it, as we've said, he shoots it much more confidently than his free throws. But
and the defensive possession at the end.
He was, that was a great play. And I think that's important to point out because I thought the defense was awesome the entire night, Devon. And so I do think like it is worth giving Nick Nurse credit for the defense here because the last time these two teams played, the Sixers dug too big of a hole in the first half. They roared back. Nice third quarter by Embiid. VJ did a lot of cool stuff in that game. If you remember, it was on Halloween night. It was an NBA Cup game. Sixers stink in the cup. But the big reason they lost that game was they got blitzed in the first quarter and at the beginning of the second quarter. And it was like Peyton Pritchard just walking into free throw line jumpers. Jaylen Brown walking into free throw line jumpers. I'm also Jabari Walker, who had some good moments tonight. I'm good on him defending Jaylen Brown until it's nice that the Sixers don't play the Celtics till March again because that matchup doesn't work. Jaylen Brown gets whatever he wants against them. So they played soft pick and roll defense for the most part against Boston at the beginning of that game, and they got blitzed because the Celtics it was some crazy shooting, but also it wasn't great defense. Nick Nurse, they changed the scheme tonight, and they blitzed pretty much every single ball screen. And the Sixers, I mean, Devon, I'm looking at it right now. They gave up 41 points in the first half, and Boston people might say, oh, man, we missed a lot of open shots. I don't know, man. There were a lot of possessions where, Andre Drummond or a Dembona is up against the screen, and whether it's Quentin Grimes is that low man helping against the roll or a bunch of players on that back line, it felt like the Sixers stymied that initial ball screen action a bunch tonight, and then it turned into the Celtics going one-on-one, maybe taking a step back 3 or a tough 2. They made a lot more of those shots in the second half. I would argue Boston's shot making in the second half was pretty awesome considering, like in the half court, I thought the Sixers played good defense the entire time, and then you get a variation of that on the last play, right? They are attacking Tyrese Maxey on that play. They are trying to get Jaylen Brown on Tyrese Maxey, so Derrick White goes to screen for Jaylen Brown. Sixers double that, And then Jaylen Brown has to throw the ball to Derrick White. And who is Johnny on the spot there? Andre Drummond sees that blitz, and Andre Drummond is aggressive, and he says, okay, I got to go get Derrick White. We're not letting him put up a three-pointer. Has the good hands, because Drum has sneaky good hands sometimes on the perimeter, right? It's one of the weird quirks about the whole Andre Drummond experience. And then they get a shot where Derrick White has to throw up basically a half-court shot. And yeah, Keita might have been able to dunk that if he timed his jump correctly. But that's a play that you'll live with because the Sixers took the Celtics out of their rhythm the entire game. So credit to Nick Nurse, but also credit to Andre Drummond and the big guys for that. Credit to the guys on the weak side. I thought the Sixers were awesome defensively in this game. And for, the first couple weeks of this season, we were just giggling at how good those guards were playing offensively, but how every game was close because the defense was just completely tragic in a million ways. Well, the defense was awesome tonight. The game was close only because the defense was great, and Drum was a big part of that.
No, he was a big part of it, and that's why I did want to highlight him because I knew we would talk about him, but when we talk about the heating up, cooling off segments and all, wanted to give him his props. I said the last 3 games, in the last 3, he played 16 minutes against the Toronto Raptors. They win that. When it wasn't his best, but he had 8 boards, 4 points. The game before, though, against Cleveland, where when they were still in it, he was a big reason why they were still in it with the double-double of 13 and 13. Since then, the loss to the Detroit Pistons by 3, 17 and 12, and against the Boston Celtics tonight, 14 and 13. And all, Rich, where he's playing 28 minutes against Cleveland, 35 in the starting role against Detroit, and 33 against the Boston Celtics. And his fouls, no foul trouble. He had 3 against Detroit, no foul trouble tonight, only 1. And you bring up the great point of how good his hands were on that late possession to swipe at Derrick White to disrupt his flow. He's
not always in the right position, but when he's there, he can make some plays.
He really can, man. So we got to give him his credit, and we do just that. Andre Drummond is our player who is heating up with our Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Yeah, he was fantastic again tonight. So we have our answer for this particular stretch of who's the main backup to Joel Embiid and who's going to start in his place. Clearly, Andre Drummond has deserved that role and is making the best of the opportunity that he has been given. He has been really good. Look, he doesn't have the hops anymore that he used to, but one thing that we talked about that Embiid has to learn, the positioning, understanding where the ball is going to be, right? Guessing where the ball is going to come off the rim. He still has those natural instincts that he's had for so many years where that still serves him well late in his career, where some of that stuff is taken away from him because of his age now. He just simply can't do it like he used to in his all-star form. But he still knows those nuances of how to get to a basketball, how to box out. He had those double-digit rebounds tonight. There were 2 in particular that I remember where he boxed his man out to allow the floorboard to be gathered by one or 2 of his teammates. Now, some of them got away from them, but I remember 2 of them in particular where he still did that job and sealing off his man. And he's big enough where sometimes he can seal off 2 because of how close they are to allow a teammate to go out there and snatch one of those boards. So Andre Drummond, once again, good game, man.
Yeah, and I feel like when he's getting his dunks, that's when the Sixers' offense is going good, right? That's when Maxey is getting into the paint and dumping the ball off to him. Kelly Oubre sometimes does that.
Jabari Walker had a nice pass to him for a dunk.
Jabari Walker, I think, had 3 passes to him tonight for dunks in that second quarter. And Devon, that's another element of, I talked about how this was a weird game. This did not, in one way, we can talk about the third quarter in a second, did fit the whole Sixers script from the first couple of weeks. It certainly fit that. One way that it did not, Tyrese Maxey -6 tonight. They were good in the non-Maxey minutes. And I think Quentin Grimes deserves a lot of credit because his first half was really good. Justin Edwards obviously deserves a lot of credit. A lot of that was him. But Jabari Walker and Andre Drummond, too. Those guys were really solid in those minutes and gave the Sixers a boost, particularly in the first half. So, as bad as the third quarter was, and we can get to that in a second here, those minutes count as well. So where do you want to go next? Do you want to go Maxey? Do you want to go offense? Do you want to go third quarter?
Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Take a pause. We come back. We'll get to the future is bright. We'll do that, and then we'll certainly get to Maxey, the third quarter, Quentin Grimes as well, because Rich just pointed out those non-Maxey minutes. He was big in those minutes. We'll get to it all. We'll come back, hanging out with you on the post-game show where the Sixers improved to 7-4 with a 102-100 victory, another thriller in South Philly over the Boston Celtics. We're talking about it all. Good times. They make us sweat. But, man, when they win, it's so much easier to discuss on these nights. They keep battling. And also, can we get a easy win so we don't have to worry about these like we have? We'll talk about that when we get back. Hanging out with you on the post-game show right here on this Tuesday night. And my good people from Rothman Orthopedics, whether it's a sore knee, stiff shoulder, nagging back, maybe a bum knee, or a final stage of your evaluation for the debut. How did he frame it? Whatever the debut was. Any of that, Rothman Orthopedics is here to help get you back to the life you love. Their team of specialists treats all kinds of orthopedic issues, from everyday strains to long-term joint pain, with care that's efficient, effective, and close to home. Rothman Orthopedic is proud to be the official team physicians for the Phillies, as well as over 40 college and high school teams, including Drexel University, St. Joe's University, and Villanova University as well. To learn more, make an appointment today. Don't let pain interrupt what you have going on and keeping you sidelined. Schedule your appointment today at rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility, our mission.
Guys, we all know the feeling. You walk into a store trying to pick out something for your partner, and suddenly you're in over your head. You're thinking, what's the difference between all these diamonds, or what if they don't like it? Yeah, it can be stressful, and that's why working with Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design has been such a game changer. These guys make the whole process seamless. From the minute you walk in, they treat you like family. They actually listen, help you figure out what they'll love, and then their team designs something completely custom right there in-house. No pressure, no pushy sales vibe. Just good people who love what they do. And the result, something that you're proud to give and that they'll never forget. So the next time you need that perfect piece, go see Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design. 30 plus years in the game, voted Philly's #1 jeweler year after year. Over 1,000 five-star reviews, speaks for itself. Check them out today at BucciJewelers.com and tell them the guys at PHLY sent you.
We're back here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show where the Sixers are victorious. We'll check in with Kyle Neubeck from the arena, hopefully in a little bit. Just a fun one. Just also in news and notes tomorrow when we get back to our 3 p.m. show, all that stuff, 3 p.m. tomorrow and Thursday here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Let's get to the Future is Bright tonight. Shady Rays Future is Bright segment for who? Somebody on the Sixers. And we do so. Make sure you check out shadyrays.com for your cool shades so you can hang out and look like Nux there with the cool shades on. Future is Bright, obviously, for Justin Edwards for the work that he did. Do you think this pushes him and keeps him in at least in the rotation for the immediate future with how he played? Because some of the other wings did not play well tonight, foul trouble, gave him the opportunity, got his number called, he was ready. Do you think this keeps him at least in the immediate in the rotation?
Well, it would be malpractice not to put him out there on Friday.
Has to be.
I think that also sends a message to your whole team that, hey, you kill it, you get rewarded. Now, I think we saw with Trendon Watford tonight, a role player, or, Trendon Watford is higher up on the pecking order than Justin Edwards is. But, a role player, a complimentary type of player, they're not always going to stack up 3 great games in a row. But I think you absolutely have to play him on Friday night. Like, I think you plan for him to get 15 to 20 minutes at least on Friday, just as a reward for, hey, man, you saved us tonight, and you weren't just good shooting the ball. Like, you established a defensive identity that helped us win this game. Congrats, you earned it. Yep.
No, he really did, man. And he has to be able to stay right now in this rotation for what he was able to do. So the future is certainly bright for Justin Edwards for the work that he got done there tonight. Defensively, we talked about the shooting, we talked about the defense, and just staying ready, man. I mean, when you don't play as well as you would like, but have your number called and staying ready, that's a difficult thing to do. where you don't feel like your coach is trusting you, even though the assistant coaches are constantly just saying, hey, stay ready, stay ready. And he was. And I'll point out another time, because in the third quarter, where Kelly Oubre and Trendon Watford that we talked about had three personal fouls each in the second quarter, coming into the fourth quarter, being aggressive, as Kelly Oubre is. He's a really good perimeter defender. He picked up his fourth foul. Justin Edwards had sat down, right? Nick Nurse called his number again to get him right back into the game. Yeah. And he didn't. And
that was before he caught fire, too.
Didn't miss a beat. He came right in and he continued to play well. You're right. That was before he had the hot hand there. He had just made some good plays overall. But quick visit to the bench. Is he fatigued because of the minutes that he played? Where is he? What's going on? Well, he called his number again after sitting for maybe 90 seconds. And in 90 seconds in gameplay, maybe it was 3 minutes in real time, and he was ready. So future is bright for Justin Edwards, player of the game, and the future is bright for Justin Edwards. Visit ShadyRays.com. All right, let's get to some of the other things that you want to get to the thing that went well or not went well here.
Let's do what not went well, or what didn't go well, because I think I do want to talk about the offense in particular. And it's not, I think Tyrese Maxey is the guy with the ball in his hands at the end of these possessions, but I didn't love the offensive process in the second half. And there were two stretches, right? There was the third quarter where Luka Garza is in the game. And the Celtics, they have pretty good perimeter defense. And they put Jordan Walsh, who's a big guy, on Tyrese Maxey. By the way, side note, I am so sick of every team has either a pit bull guard or a bigger forward that they put on Tyrese Maxey. I am so sick of these guys beating the hell out of Tyrese Maxey and then getting apoplectic the occasional time that the ref blows his whistle, like on that drive tonight. Jordan Walsh is like, oh my God, look at the scoreboard. Like, what's going on? Dude, you fouled him. Like, you hammered him. You body checked him and then fouled him on the way up. That drives me crazy. But Jordan Walsh did a pretty good job on Tyrese Maxey.
He did a heck of a job tonight.
So, but I thought the process was bad, man. You had a guy in Luka Garza who you could attack on the back line, and I thought the Sixers, there were a couple times they got Garza up in screening action and made him guard Maxey. Maxey actually missed a floater on one of those. I think there was a Watford missed three on another one of those. But you need to do it every single play, man. You need to give, your guards and the ability to attack the weak link. And look, like you saw the last three possessions of that game, I was pretty frustrated with Tyrese Maxey because you have Neemias Queta, who's a better defender than Luka Garza, but clearly the guy you want to attack, kind of a more traditional big man. And the Sixers have Andre Drummond coming to screen for Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese is him going one-on-one against Jordan Walsh and just continually driving right. He needed to let that screen hit from Andre Drummond and then get going against Queta. And the second possession in particular, he rejects the screen. And like you said, he doesn't keep going the entire way to the basket. So it ends up being Maxey hero ball one-on-one, bad shot, like just not a good look, a very tough two-pointer. And there was a lot of that tonight. So that needs to be cleaned up. And it felt like they just didn't do a good job of attacking the mismatch. Now, I will give Maxey credit. It looked like a hero ball possession on the game-winning play, and he gets hung up under the basket with Jordan Walsh, but he sees Jaylen Brown asleep and kicks it out to Justin Edwards for a pretty good look. Like, I think you look at Tyrese Maxey and say, hey, that's a heads-up pass on that last one. Of course, Oubre is the one that cleans it up. But yeah, I do think the offensive process needs to be better, more ball movement. See, look, this is tough, but a nice pass to Justin Edwards there, and Bree has it up there. Kelly Oubre cleans it up for the bucket. That's a great play, and the Sixers earn that play with their defense, but the offense needs to be sharper because, Devon, again, a 36-20 third quarter. And the only reason they got 20 was because Quentin Grimes made a bomb at the end of that quarter. And, Devon, I think they might have scored like 4 points in the half court in that third quarter. Like, they got a few buckets in transition. Maxey had a couple. Grimes had a couple as well. It was so bad. And I think now on the season, I had the stat right here. They are minus 104 in 11 third quarters on the season. That's pretty hard to do. And tonight it was frustrating because the offense wasn't good.
What is it now?
minus 104. Not net rating, just total.
So when the game ended on, what was that? Today's Tuesday, on Sunday, and we did our story on allphly.com with the 10, with a few major questions that we had. When I put that in there as one of the issues that I have with this basketball team, at that point it was minus 88. So now you're saying because of the 16 point,
add it up.
That's 104. My goodness. And again,
it's the same thing every game.
And I don't even blame Nick Nurse, because Nick Nurse is in the locker room doing his job of getting his guys geared up to come out of the locker room. What is happening? What is happening in these third quarter? I mean, we see it, but what is the problem with them not being able to come out of the third quarter and put their foot on the gas and keep going? The other team is doing it to them. Why can't they do it? We've seen the Sixers do it in past, in previous iterations of the Sixers. What is the problem? It continues to happen. And Bree played the three-pointer there. How big was that three-pointer, everybody, that he made, Quentin Grimes, at the end of the third quarter? Because they win by 2 points. They win by 2. How big was that? They needed that three-pointer that Quentin Grimes made from 44 feet. They needed that one badly, and they win by 2 tonight. They have to clean this up, Rich. They have to.
I mean, again,
two things. Two things. You got to come out of the third quarter better.
Yeah.
You have to come out of the third quarter better. And you got to put together a complete game somewhere the course of this rest of the 71 games.
Guys, just be bad in the second quarter once and be good in the third quarter. Like, you can do
because you're fantastic in the fourth.
You can do the same thing, but just like rearrange the outcome. Because we're watching the same exact story every game.
The script is the same.
It's uncanny. It was a little different tonight in terms of how they got there, because the defense was better. But in terms of like what the score was at the end of each quarter, the exact same. At like basically even first quarter, awesome second quarter, unbelievably horrendous third quarter, and an awesome fourth quarter. And so, Devon, Bobby Marks had a tweet. It said, the Sixers have now played a league-high 9 clutch games so far this season. So that's 9 out of 11, which means the game is within 5 points or less.
So the two are Toronto and Cleveland. They're 1-1 in those 2 games.
Yeah.
10-point win over Toronto, and you were they lost by 11 to Cleveland?
It was either Toronto or it was Orlando. Orlando was close at the end.
Yeah,
right?
Orlando was still close.
Yeah. They got away. So they're 6-3 in those games so far this year. Every game is crazy. So it's a
mystery, man.
But I'm with you. And
it's a mystery.
I'm happy we can talk about it after a win, because like, look, I'm not like letting Nick Nurse completely off the hook, because I think everybody deserves their share of blame.
Yes.
He's one of them along with the players. But it's like you're saying, like, I don't think Nick Nurse is like, hey guys, what if we suck again in the third quarter?
Let's make this challenging. Let's challenge ourselves in the fourth.
I don't know what's going on, man.
Hell no, he's not saying that.
I'm just sick of it, because I want to believe that this is random and that at some point they're going to be fine in the third quarter. Maybe they start getting off to slower starts. It's like the Eagles last year. They were terrible in the first quarter for the first half of the year, and things just started to bounce back. And obviously in the playoffs, they were amazing in the first quarter.
Yeah.
But it's the same script every night, and it's uncanny. Oh, Brooklyn was the other blowout. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I guess.
So maybe Toronto or
No.
Cleveland.
Cleveland and Brooklyn were the 2.
Okay, so Toronto doesn't count. Yeah. All right, let's take our final break, everybody. When we come back, we'll talk more about a few others in this one, because we got to get to Kelly Oubre and Trendon Watford and their tough night. VJ Edgecombe, another tough night, which is now a trend here. I'd imagine in the rookie ladder, he's going to dip a little bit in the rookie ladder for the first time this season. He'll get it together where we're not worried, but he's got to get it together. All right, when we come back, we'll do all that. Final break right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show, victorious one. Go celebrate after our show at Parks Casino, everybody. Just go hang out. Go do something out in Parks Casino, because it's the best. The Excite Center, Parks Casino, is one of the many things that I love about my casino of choice, and that is Parks Casino. Very easy to get to. It's the number 1 here in the area. It's close to all things in Philadelphia. Located in Ben Salem, take the Street Road exit off of I-95 and the PA Turnpike, and then, boom, you're right there. It's on the right-hand side as you continue to drive down there on State Road. All right, the Excite Center is the state-of-the-art entertainment venue located inside Parks Casino, named one of the best places to see the country's best comedians, the music headliners, all the best acts at Parks Casino. Visit parkscasino.com right now to buy tickets for all shows, pregame the shows at their amazing beer garden. It's fantastic, especially during the day where, if the light just comes in. It's a fantastic venue. Play some pop culture slots, roulette, cards, and other table games you love while you wait. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You must be 21 and over. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And guys, you know how stressful the holiday season can be. Between travel, gifts, hosting, entertaining, you name it, it's easy to lose sight of your money and financial responsibility at this time of year. And if you want to keep your finances under control this holiday season, you need to be using Monarch. Rated Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025, Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop and on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. So if you've been, if you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Don't leave money on the table. When you're making good money, it is easy to get complacent. And Monarch, guys, it's beloved by users and experts. It's not just another finance app. It's a tool that real professionals and experts actually love. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code PHLY at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code PHLY.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers post-game show. We got a little pushback from our friend Yams in the chat. Says, the third quarter woes are completely because of coaching. I'm trying not to be overly critical of Nick Nurse, but he hasn't impressed me in his tenure. Completely disagree, Devon. I disagree, Yams, only because you know that the message going in, we don't know what is being said, but he is not. One thing we do know is don't get down and lose the third quarter by 20. He's not saying that. He has a message. Whether that message is the right one, they're receiving it, they don't like it, they hijack it, I don't know. But I'm not putting that on him because I know he's in there saying something that is where he is trying to improve their third quarter woes. Because once it's this first, second, third game, all right, that's a trend. Now it's a really bad trend.
It's a trend.
And now it's an awful trend. He is trying to fix the problem. So whatever it is, as Rich said, his hands aren't clean in this one. But man, a lot of it is on the players for how they're doing the things out there on the floor, simply because we've watched it. We didn't watch what was happening and being said in the locker room, but a head coach is not going out there saying, hey, let's sabotage and test ourselves in the fourth quarter to see if we can close these games out. He's delivering some message that he believes is the right one. Whether it is, we don't know, but I can't put the blame, as you put, Yams, on Nick Nurse there.
Solely on him. My thing with that is, Nick Nurse is the coach the other three quarters, too.
He's the coach in the fourth quarter.
He's the coach
when they're the best in the NBA.
He's the coach when good stuff goes right, too. So, yeah. I don't know. I think, look, he group him in with everybody else is my point, right? And obviously Drummond shooting 2 corner threes in tonight's third quarter, bad. And I think Nick Nurse needs to get in his ear hey,
got to reel that in.
That's got to stop. So, yeah. And I mean, if the message isn't getting through the guys, it's getting through the other three quarters. It is. So I don't know what to do with that, right? I just can't focus on the bad stuff and say, hey, that's the coach's fault and that's not the player's fault.
So Leonard says, Leonard Blocker, we appreciate it. Leonard Blocker says Nick's message isn't getting through to the guys.
I mean, they're 7-4.
They have really good fourth quarters to come back. They have really good
fourth quarters. They play an exciting brand of basketball. They have not had Paul George at all this year. They've had Barlow for one game, and it looks like he's actually a pretty good player. And Embiid has been here for 50% of the time, and even for all 50%, it's not that time. I think we can move off Nick Nurse. I think he's been fine so far this year.
But it keeps going because Tom also says it's a Nick Nurse problem because mainly he's sitting Maxey late in these latter part of the third quarter. We need to squeeze him in smaller rests for the Maxey throughout the game.
Well, he has to rest at some point.
He has to.
He plays the most minutes in the NBA.
He can't sit at 7 minutes because the spurts are also going to be bad then.
They'll happen then.
And then there's more time. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. And look.
He's got to sit some point,
I can't tell you you're wrong because that's your opinion. However, Nick Nurse is. Can we all agree that Nick Nurse is not going in there saying, "Hey guys, let's give up a lot of points in the third quarter so we can again challenge ourselves in the fourth"? Do we all at least agree on that? All right, cool. Love you guys. We appreciate it. Let's get to the arena though right now, and we check in with our guy hanging out on the Xfinity mobile call-in line. Kyle Neubeck checks in. Kyle, the Sixers and the Celtics. I mean, the rivalry is back. They can't give us an easy one. They have to have us on the edge of the seat for these. But once again, a really, really entertaining game. Another thriller between these two squads.
So we've had 3 games decided by a total of 4 points.
That's
I believe 2 tonight, and then 2 different 1-point defeats in either direction.
Yes.
Compelling, thrilling basketball, in part because the third quarters have been an absolute disaster for this team, and no one can offer a real explanation why. I'm sure you guys have your theories, as do I, at least for tonight's game. But I guess the thing that matters is no Joel, no PG. McCain only plays 5 minutes, isn't very good. VJ shoots poorly. Maxey shoots poorly. You come out with a win. So #thank you, Justin Edwards, for just an absolutely incredible performance tonight. And by the way, his mom was in the post-game presser tonight, showed up to show some love to her son and also make sure that he didn't say any curse words while he was at the podium, because he got asked about something he said during the game, and she said, "You better not."
So can we stay on the third quarter thing where, we can get there, just because that was a conversation as you checked in and you didn't get a chance to hear it. But we were saying that Nick Nurse is a small part of the problem, but we don't know how big, because there's no way he's in that locker room delivering a message, and that message being, let's tank the third quarter so we can prove ourselves in the fourth. The chat disagrees with us. It's totally a Nick Nurse problem for a variety of reasons. It happened again tonight, Kyle, 36-20. As we talked about it yesterday, it was a -88. Rich pointed out -16 tonight. That's a -104 now through the 11 games. What do you think the problem is?
I think it's something different every night. And if I'm being honest with you, fellas, I think some of it is this is a very young team, and it's a very young team that is still in the process of developing their most important players. And you're going to have to live with ups and downs. It might not always be in the third quarter. It has always been in the third quarter pretty much this season, but it's just going to be one of those things. They are not a finished product. They're going out there and they're playing Andre Drummond, who at this stage is a backup, as your starting center on a decent amount of nights, playing him a lot of minutes. Adem Bona is the backup or third big, however you want to put it, and he is a roller coaster. VJ Edgecombe right now is in a shooting slump. Kelly Oubre is coming back to earth, and so when all that's happening at once, when you're playing all these guys that are as volatile as they are, you're going to go through stretches of the game where you don't play that well. Now, Quentin Grimes came out and said tonight, maybe we just need to play with a greater energy, greater mentality early in the third quarter. I frankly thought the issue in that third, I thought the offensive process was just absolute garbage. I thought it was a lot of the side to side, no real downhill pressure. And Rich, I think you might have pointed this out in our Discord chat at some point. I totally agree with this. Luka Garza was in that game for a long stretch in the third quarter and basically got to just hang out in the paint. That's a guy that when he's out on the floor, you play high screen and roll and you force him to either switch, play high, whatever it is, and you make the guys who are the weak links defensively play in space. They didn't do any of that. There was not good offensive process in that quarter or for a lot of the second half. And so that's going to happen, right? So credit to them for having the resilience, and to Justin Edwards for the shot making tonight to pull them out of that game. Also thought they had some really great defensive stretches tonight, but I don't think that it is one specific problem, and I don't think it's just Nick Nurse. It's a shared responsibility.
Yeah, and look, to everybody in the chat, Nick Nurse, it was bad offensive process, so he certainly deserves some blame for that, right? Mm-hmm. He's the coach, right? And he should be pointing out that Luka Garza is the guy to attack. Kyle, one thing I do want to point out, because you mentioned it at the end, that I thought they did really well. I thought their ball screen defense, and they've done this a bunch in the last few games, super aggressive, and for the most part, hold Boston to 102. I thought in the second half, whatever Boston got was mostly in transition, or it was tough shot making from Jaylen Brown, Derrick White, all those guys. I thought they executed their defensive game plan at a really high level tonight. And what impressed me is that we spent the whole first 2 weeks of the season saying, oh my God, these guys are just terrible on defense.
Yeah.
So for them to be able to win a slugfest and make some adjustments from the last time they played Boston, that's pretty good to me.
No, look, when you have the final possession of the game end on essentially Andre Drummond playing up to the level and pressuring Derrick White to the point that he's got to hoist one from close to half court, that shows that you're firing on all cylinders. Like Andre Drummond, the book on him his whole career has been get him in space, right? You got to drag him away from the rim. And I think what we've seen, I know that Cade Cunningham ends up punishing them in crunch time in the Detroit game, but using Andre, bringing Bona up and switching with him, playing him up at the level, by getting into teams like that, by stopping that initial ball handler, I think they've had a lot of success slowing teams down and playing. Like, look, they're even as their defense has been bad because of how bad the transition defense has been, their half court defense has been excellent for most of the year. If you just dig into the numbers a little bit, I thought tonight in the first half, the transition defense even was pretty good. There was a couple VJ effort plays that were made, other guys getting back and just forcing at least a couple passes before a shot's going up. It's not just drive right down the lane or open three on the wing. So basic effort, basic communication, that stuff's coming along. And then when they can get into the execution of their half-court defense, I think they've shown they have the potential to be a much better defensive team, and that showed tonight.
All right, let's get to the Justin Edwards piece because, Kyle, we've been on him a lot this season through the first 10 games. Game 11 tonight. Had his number called, stayed ready, and not only was he fantastic, perfect, 8 for 8, 5 for 5 before that last shot, allowing Kelly Oubre to have the putback game winner, but defensively also did some really nice things.
And that's a great point you bring up, Devon, because I think it's a classic example of if you do the right things that are not shooting the ball will find you, your opportunities will come, and then it's on you to take advantage. I love the defensive energy that he showed. I love the attention to detail on the glass that he had. He had a couple rebounds, including an offensive rebound in the first half. But there was even a sequence where he had a nice box out and it allowed somebody to get a defensive rebound, get the Sixers out and running. Just little attention to detail stuff. Nick Nurse at the podium after the game, it literally said, I love him about Justin Edwards, says that he has been unfazed by the fact that Justin had a slow summer league, slow preseason. Justin then said at the podium tonight that Nick came to him maybe a month and a half ago, and said, don't worry about all this. Your time will come. I believe in you. Quentin was also at the podium tonight after the game, said they see him put in the extra reps, do the work after practices and whatnot, getting shots up. So the collective belief in him is still there. And it's nice to see him break through in this way. I thought it was going to take, a few games where he's 2 for 3, 2 for 4, whatever it might be, chips away at this, to have a big breakthrough like this. It's the type of game that can ignite a season potentially.
No, it was good to see that. Good to hear the things that you said about him at the podium, and also from his teammates, just trusting him with the Quentin Grimes point that you just made, but also with Edgecombe and Maxey. We talked about it earlier, finding him in transition. He had already made the one, and with the hot hand, those guys trusted him and continue to trust him, and they know him. And even going back to media day and conversations we had with Tyrese Maxey, having Justin Edwards come to Texas with him, seeing him in Los Angeles, and certainly being here in Philadelphia, it was great to see his work pay off and rewarded for just that. Kyle, before Rich gets to the next question, we want to let everybody know we're going to a quick overtime here at allphly.com. Thank you on the television side. We really appreciate you hanging with us. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Yeah, Kyle, I guess we should get to the news, right? Because Nick Nurse was at the podium, and we heard some stuff about Paul George and Joel Embiid. So I guess I'll just give you the floor. And what'd you hear from him?
Yeah, so the Joel Embiid one is a little more straightforward. Nick was asked about his visit with the doctors or the imaging that he got, and there is no structural damage. He's day-to-day, so crisis averted. Obviously, day-to-day for Joel Embiid is we'll see how that goes. We don't know what that's going to look like. Nick seemed cautiously optimistic and also made sure to say the big thing is he feels like Joel's conditioning is getting better, his rhythm is getting better, and that it would be awesome for him to keep playing, right? Because you don't want him to get into this state where, all right, now he's going to have a week off. Now he's going to miss several games. You come back, he's out of rhythm, he's out of the flow. And so I think he's hoping that even if it's Friday, that maybe Joel Embiid can be back for that game. So hoping that that is the end of it. The Paul George thing, I'm just like, every new update to me just seems more ridiculous than the last. It's like the final update. It's you know how Blade Runner has the final cut. It's like the original theatrical cut of Blade Runner. Then there's the director's cut. Then there's the final cut, which is also a director's cut. And that's kind of what we're going through with Paul George. It was, okay, he's back. He's playing 5-on-5 at practice. Okay, now he has to go see the doctor, and that's the final step is getting clearance. And now he did his testing over the weekend, and he had further testing tonight. And now he needs to strengthen his left quadricep and participate in further basketball activities. And it's like, can you guys just tell me when this guy is going to play at this point? And I'll say, Paul George, can you just tell me when you're going to be ready to play? Because this just feels a little absurd at this point. So I can't say that he's ruled out for Friday or not. Later in the week technically could be
correct
Thursday, right? So I'm done trying to guess on the timelines. You ask questions, you try to get a sense of it, and you don't get a firm answer. But I would say the good thing about how this week is structured, they now have 2 days off. They play Friday. They get another 2 days off. In my mind, with the way the week is structured, they can get at least 2 practices in. Paul George can be a full participant in, do his left quadricep strengthening, do whatever, all the things he needs to do. If he doesn't play next Monday, I'm going to have some real questions. If it pushes past then, I might put on Joker makeup for one of these shows and just
start dancing down the stairs.
Yeah. I don't know what to do at that point, but that's the extent to which we got an update. So hoping for the best. And, oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys got to it on pregame. We did hear about Dominic Barlow as well. He was seen at both shoot around and pregame warmups today. Has all the major bandaging / light cast off and the sling that he was in for immobilization. Nick Nurse seemed pretty bullish that this is going to be a sooner than later return to the floor for him. So I think that'll be another welcome addition to the rotation.
Hope we get a chance to see him on Friday against the Pistons. They're going to need help on the glass against Jaylen Brown and the rest of that front court. Kyle, thanks so much, man. We really appreciate it. We'll catch up with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Get home safe, man. Thanks.
Sounds good, fellas. See you.
Kyle Neubeck joining us on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line where we get updates on Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Dominic Barlow in this one. Before we get to roll call and all of it, all of it. Rich, your thoughts on Edgecombe, what we also saw from Trendon Watford and Kelly Oubre tonight?
Yeah, let's just hit those guys quick. Another rough outing for VJ, and it feels like he doesn't know. Somebody mentioned this. I think it was Music Lover mentioned this earlier. They are forcing him left, and sometimes he's just got to take that with the spin move because he clearly can get by these guys still, but I think it's forcing him to settle for some shots. Some people, are wondering, should they run more plays for him? They ran a few in the first half tonight. They ran that Iverson cut for him. Really didn't get a good shot on Derrick White. There's a few of them. He's struggling for sure. Like, I think there's just no way to put it. Now, it is funny. Even in these games that he's struggling, he does play pretty good defense. We talked about the block. He had some awesome on-ball defense against Simons in that first half. We talked about the team defense in the first half. He was definitely a part of that. And in every one of these games, even though he's pretty uninvolved
every time
in the fourth quarter, there's always a big three-pointer at the end of it. And this one was one of the friendliest bounces you'll ever see. Just hits the back rim, goes way up in the air, and then pop right back in the basket. He always hits one of those. So yeah, he's struggling. They got to get him back on track. Would be nice to see him get more in transition, honestly. Like, I think that's been part of his success in these games where he gets a bucket in transition. They get him out. Maybe he gets ahead of the pack and attacks a big, and then he starts to make some of the shots on the half court as well. But he's definitely struggling. I think that's fair to say.
Something cutting to the basket too. Design something baseline, something middle of the floor. Get him a good look. Maybe he can get a layup or a dunk, and maybe that'll get him going. The other two, Watford and Oubre, just off nights for both of them.
Yeah, Watford. They good start for Watford because they had him and Maxey sort of running the two-man stuff.
For like 4 consecutive possessions.
Yeah, early in the first quarter, they did build a slight lead, and it was on the back of Trendon Watford. He's really good at the play action fake too, like pretending he's gonna go to Maxey and
Love
then just ducking in.
Too.
And by the way, I think that's going to be a big part of this team's offense because he's clearly very good at slipping screens. And against these teams that can have, a team like Detroit, even a team like Boston in some of their lineups tonight that have long defenders and are willing to switch at least 1 to 3 or maybe 2 to 4, whatever it is. The way that you beat switching defenses is by slipping to the basket and beating it. So I think Maxey and Watford having that rapport, and Watford not only being able to slip, but also make plays when Maxey gets him the ball in those situations is going to be big. He was really bad in the second quarter and through the rest of the game. Deserved not to close tonight. Felt like they tried to post him up against Peyton Pritchard a few times in tonight's game. Just didn't have a lot. Had an airball 3 by a mile tonight that you made a funny noise the second he let it go because it just didn't have enough to get to the basket. But look, Trendon Watford is a role player, and for the Sixers to get a win when basically all of these guys had stinky games for the most part is pretty good. And then you mentioned Oubre. Yeah, I mean, the defense is always there. It is always there. I think we saw sort of the Kelly Oubre 3-point shooting that we feared a little bit tonight. Would have been nice. He got a wide open look in the fourth quarter where Edgecombe actually made a nice play to get him the ball on that one. It was a good shot. He just missed it. But again, Kelly Oubre.
He's made so many.
Yeah, he's a few too many above the break threes tonight. But again, like I'm worried that's going to regress because that's what he has shot in past years. But again, he's on the court at the end of the game, and who's the guy who's Johnny on the spot to make the game-winning play? It's Kelly Oubre. Yeah. So, look, I think, guys, it's a good win for the Sixers because a lot of their guys had really poor offensive nights.
And still only gave up 100 points.
To being able to win in that fashion, I didn't think that they were going to be able to do that. So, yeah.
They held the Celtics to 40% shooting, 34% from 3. And they were even in terms of free throws, and they were +1 in makes, 16 to 15. That's important. As you pointed out, they were dominating on the glass, 53 to 44, and the offensive rebounds came back to get them again, 13 to 8. But they turned the ball over 9 times, which resulted in 15 points. So their transition defense still poor, but they did enough to win this basketball game. So if they ever get it together where they play a full game, or it's a close game in the first half and the third quarter is much better, but they piece together the third and fourth quarter together to have a comfortable win where we're not sweating like this, then maybe they have something and they get those reinforcements back, then that is something that is really important. But those guys, once again, just really good. And I saw that Music Lover pointed it out, and I did want to say that because we didn't really talk about Maxey a lot, where we talked about him enough where you pointed out the things that with the offensive flow and going right and having the issues with Jordan Walsh. He and Edgecombe combined tonight, both of them playing 33-plus minutes, 0 turnovers from your backcourt, your starting backcourt, and once again, that's important.
Well, okay, some of those turnovers, though, was that they weren't getting good shots and they were throwing pretty garbage shots. Okay, not turnovers, but bad shots.
But when the bad turnovers do happen, typically it's out on the perimeter. Boom, you're running the other way. So protecting the basketball is key. Bad shots, they did.
And Maxey, like we talked about that over the shoulder pass to Edwards, the one he had at the end of Edwards. Nice plays. Again, Drummond, I feel like, is the beneficiary of when Maxey gets downhill and he makes these nice dump-off passes as well. One other thing I should mention for Maxey, VJ, and Grimes, Sixers shot 48% at the rim tonight, and I felt like all of those guys were missing bunnies tonight. And
they had 4 in a row where we looked at each other, all 3 of us, and said, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, and
Maxey with 2, I think Grimes with 1.
We talk about VJ.
Edgecombe had a nice downhill.
We talk about VJ
burst.
like taking off from too long. It wasn't those type of plays. Like they were good drives, and they got to a spot. They were semi-contested, but they just either they weren't dunking it, they couldn't put the ball in the square, or whatever it was. Yeah, it was a tough night because then it was a transition bucket on the other end. But hey, look, those type of things are going to happen, and to win on such an imperfect night, that's good.
Absolutely. All right, that'll do it for us, everybody. Programming, we'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. For both our Wednesday and Thursday shows. Friday, we have a game, so Rich is off. We won't see Rich until next Monday for a home game when the Sixers come back from Detroit for that Monday game. We also want to tell you about Rich's newsletter. Make sure that everybody reads Rich's newsletter every day because it's the best in the world, clearly. allphly.com/newsletter. Fantastic. Not just Sixers, Eagles, everything. Rich also had his observations immediately after the Birds got their 10-7 annoying victory over the Green Bay Packers. But
that was an annoying victory. This was a fun one.
That was so annoying.
That's the burden of expectations for that team.
Shout out Julian Phillips also for
Jaden
Phillips. I'm sorry, Jaylen Phillips for his debut, not the Paul George debut, the Jaylen Phillips debut for how he was tremendous in that game.
He was. So hey, look, a good 2 Philly sports night, right? You beat the Packers, you beat the Celtics without Embiid and Paul George, and now you got a couple nights off heading into a rematch against Detroit.
Flyers, keep it going. Keep it going, Flyers. Keep it going tomorrow, Flyers. For sure, make sure you tune in for their pre- and post-game show tomorrow as well. On the way out, yes, X says hit the like button. It is free. Hit that like button as we get ready for the world-famous It's the roll call time, everybody, because we got to get ready to say thank you to all of you. Jack Reacher, Gene Ross, what up, Gene? Doug, Craig, X-Man. What up, X? I see my mom is in there.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom. Phi Chi. We got Phi Chi with us as well. Bree, let's get ready to scroll because you know what's happening with me on my side with my computer. Glenn A. What up, Glenn? Glenn says the point guard is the problem. You don't have a true point guard in the third quarters to help kind of calm things down. True point guard in the third quarter. We'll talk about that at another time, though. Hey, Aaron, what up, Aaron? Thank you, Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats. Saw Winona in there. Hey, Nona. Terrence Knights, Music Lover 31. Play that music. Yams with us. Remo K. Al, the 2-minute warning. What up, Al?
What up, Al?
We also had Tom Jackson. Let's see. Sir Shmooey in there as well. Prophet 1. I saw you, Tom Jackson. Who else did
we got? Yams.
We got Yams, said Glenn. And Bro and them. Always got to get Bro and them. Lawrence. Good to see Lawrence in there. Doug. Got to get Doug, Craig.
Got to get Doug.
Brian Knight. B Knight. All of you, thank you. Don't forget, we also, we'll say this tomorrow, but we'll remind everybody. John Peace is in there. What up, Peace? Theo, good to see you. We'll be getting ready for a couple weeks. From tomorrow. We'll be at Reading Terminal in 2 weeks, right? Back at Reading Terminal.
Must be that time of year.
It's that time of year. I think I'm going to have to get my sister. She loves the banana pudding from the one spot.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so we got to make sure that I get there early to get the banana pudding or ask somebody like Andrew to get it with the early show. Everybody, thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe to the show. We really appreciate it, as always. And when you do, hit the button for the bell icon that I think I left in the other room. So
ding.
There you go. When you do that, the alert, that's what you'll hear to let you know that it is, in fact, showtime. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. for a regular, normal 3 p.m. PHLY Sixers podcast time. We'll all be with you. Rich, as always, is fun, man. We'll see you
3 and 4, man. I need a
next
break.
Monday. Yeah. Need a break, man.
Sixers need a break, too.
We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Bree, great job as always. Sis, the best in the business. We'll see you all tomorrow, 3 p.m. right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Thank you and good night.
We all silly like the mayor.